question too. All right, so like, oh, I see a hand up. I got to figure out where the hand is. Oh, Anne, thank you.
I just wanted to say that, so I've recently moved back to the area. I've been living up in the Bay Area, although I grew up down here. And the women's club, Democratic club that I was involved with up there was much less active. So I'm just really excited to have such a wonderful group of people to come together and have these conversations. So I wanted to thank the chair and thank you all for making such a wonderful, welcoming environment.
Well, thank you. Hopefully we will continue to be welcoming as we continue our quest to increase our membership. And I think that since we can't be in person, because when we used to be in person, it was so much fun. There were hugs, there was laughter, there were jokes, there was food. There was, opportunity for small conversations as well as big conversations. And we could see each other's faces as we were deliberating about like what was next. And here we are. Yay. We're like almost 2 years into this whole, like, we can't get together and do things. Yes, I remember, and I miss hugs. I remember when I was younger, there was this thing that like you needed a certain number of hugs every day just to be a healthy, happy human being. And now we're at this point where we're doing this. So that's where we are.
I think it was 6 hugs a day.
Thank you. I knew that there was a number. I know that I would exceed that number, and I stopped counting just because, as I moved around, I guess although I've been told I'm unapproachable, but apparently I'm a huggable, unapproachable person. Whatever that means. So, I've got interesting news. We're in the position, our secretary is traveling, and no, not our secretary, our membership chair is traveling. And so no one has the roster. And so that's why you aren't credentialed. That's why none of you have V's or G's in front of your name. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy to see you. We can talk about everything under the sun, but we can't vote on anything. Problem with that is we do need to make a bylaw change. So what I'm proposing, since, let's see, Mercury is in retrograde, and so everything that could possibly go wrong this month has gone wrong. The message had the reminder went out with bad links. My fault. When I copied and pasted it, there was a space in front of the H, and so that added like a 20% to the URL, which made it like unfindable. Our speakers that we originally planned to have had a conflict because they were getting endorsed, and then our other speakers that we're planning to have, we evidently didn't procure, and so we don't have programming tonight. This is a very unusual meeting, but we do have a proposed bylaws change. Has everyone seen the proposed bylaw change, or does everyone understand why we want to change the bylaws?
I think so, but can you explain it just to make sure I understood it correctly?
All right, I was afraid you were going to say that. All right, so basically, we want to make sure that we give as much clarity as possible around voting eligibility. And apparently, there were some people who thought that attending the meetings was enough, and even though they didn't pay their dues.
Well, that's not right.
So they thought that being a member in good standing and eligible to vote just meant attending the meetings, and it didn't mean actually making sure that your membership was current. So we wanted to clear that up so that it was not gray for the people who didn't understand that. And then the other part, we want to make sure that we are giving every member a chance to be as franchised as possible. We want everyone who's participating and engaged with our club and is a member to be in good standing and be able to vote and help us make decisions for the good of the club. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. So I got a little off track because I guess I should follow the agenda. And for the people who haven't seen the agenda, I'm going to show it to you, but we're going to have to make some edits to it for several reasons that I just mentioned. And, you know, in terms of opening remarks and acknowledgements, I think my greatest opening remark is I appreciate the people who are here every month, regardless of what we have on the agenda, and who participate and engage in critical discourse around current issues and help to keep us all informed. And also just the spirit of congeniality, for lack of a better word, in terms of how we support and lift each other up, as well as when we have guests who do come from various nonprofit organizations or who bring issues to our attention, that we make an effort to support change in the direction of what we consider the highest good. Candidate announcements. So somewhere on here, I should have approved the agenda. So I have shared the agenda. We had check-in and credentialing. We did kind of check in. We have no credentialing because we don't have the wherewithal to do so at the moment. We had opening remarks for what they were. I think our check-in period, we did a lot of the opening remarks. After that, we have candidate announcements, recognition of elected officials and representatives. Our discussion on police reform was kiboshed because it was more important, and I agree it's more important for them to show up at the club that was actually doing an endorsement this evening. We should all congratulate Dave Myers, who was a member of our club and was endorsed tonight by the Blue Dream Democratic Club. And the discussion on reproductive rights, we actually could have that discussion, because even though we don't have a formal speaker, I think that it's a topic that many of us are informed of on and have some opinions about. The bylaw change vote, we can't vote because we don't have credentialing to know who is eligible to vote and who is not. But we can discuss the bylaws change, and then officer reports we can do. So with the changes that I discussed, is there a motion to accept the revised agenda? And that would be the parts 5, 6, and 7 being changed.
I'll
I
make
move
the
We
motion.
accept the agenda.
All right, and then do I have a second? I have a motion from Ruth, a second from Tish Leon.
Yes,
All in favor of the agenda as revised, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
no,
Are there any opposed to the revision? Okay, that being said, we will proceed as discussed. And I saw a hand. Let me see here. This is always fun. Okay, I don't see it anymore. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen so we can go back to seeing each other. I like it when we can see each other. All right, so the next thing on the agenda is candidate announcements. Do we have any candidates in the room that would like to make an announcement? Is anybody running for office right now and here? Zanetta? Is it Zanetta or Zanita?
It's whatever people call me. No, it's Zanita, but
Thank you.
a lot of people call me Zanetta, so that's fine too. And some people call me Z. I answer if you make eye contact. That's the rule.
Okay.
It is great to be with everyone again this month. I'm Zanita Encarnacion. I'm running for Chula Vista Mayor in 2022. I have lived in this community almost 20 years, and as a former homeless and troubled youth and high school dropout who's now halfway through my doctorate program at USC, I am indebted to the city that gave me and my family the stability and roots that I didn't have growing up. I may be a new name on the ballot, but I'm a familiar face in this community. I've worked in this community to make real change since 2004, working for then Mayor Steve Padilla to helping pass the 2005 ordinance, which was the first of its kind countywide to make outdoor dining smoke-free in Chula Vista, the 2009 community campaign that saved the Chula Vista Nature Center, served on various task force commissions and advisory councils, to advocating for all members of our community, especially those that are the most resilient. The work that I have done has been possible because I know that local policy is strongest when it is in partnership with the community. I'm the only candidate that has executive leadership experience, both in governance and administration, and I understand and can navigate the tension that rests at that intersection. We need a mayor who is unwavering in her values and commitment to our working families, our planet, and the intentional work of equity. I welcome members of this club to join me as we work to ensure the community has a fresh and experienced voice at City Hall. We are walking on Saturdays, so I will put all my information in the chat box. And if you want to come and get some steps in on a Saturday, we would welcome you to join our campaign in walking. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Tim. No,
Let Tiffany go,
all right, Tiffany.
please. I
Hi,
always like-
everyone.
It's always
Thank
great to see.
Thank you. Thank you for the deference, Dr. Tim. I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Tiffany Boyd Hodgson. I have a long history with this club. This is the Democratic Women's Club has a special place in my heart. This is where I found a home when I moved to San Diego. And I hope, Patricia, that you will find that you can find a home here too in your recent move from Alaska and in your search to find your people. This is where you can find a home for sure. I'm running for San Diego Board of Supervisors, District 5. I'm challenging Jim Desmond, and I am the candidate that can beat him. The numbers are now in our favor up here in North County, and I think that we are off to a great start. My policy platforms are going to focus on things that voters want to hear about and talk about. They are jobs, climate, water, healthcare, housing, data, and dignity. Those are the things we're going to be talking about. Our campaign is off to a great start. I invite you to join me. As soon as I get back home, I'm in my car right now. I've pulled over to the side of the road. I will put my information in the chat. We can do great things together, and I encourage you to join me. Thank you so much for the time and attention, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. We'll be seeking this endorsement.
Thank you. Tommy, no, wait. Oh, wait, where did Tim go? Tim, you were up, so go ahead.
I defer to the others, please. I want to hear what they have to say.
Oh, so you want to go last?
I will.
Interesting. Tommy, you're up.
Well, thank you, Dr. Richmond. I appreciate it. And thank you very much, Tim. San Diego County Planning Commissioner Tommy Howe, running for San Diego City Council in District 6. And it was a really fun and exciting weekend for the campaign. We had a number of volunteers out, and we were doing a lot of canvassing around the neighborhood. Not really anything unusual, though. We've been doing that since around the middle of July. And really what we've found are a lot of the similar issues that we found when I was the endorsed Democratic candidate for the seat back in 2018. Infrastructure, restoring our roads, but also making sure that we're managing growth in a way that's sensible, that we at last get some effective transit into our communities, because as we do more densification, as we welcome more neighbors into our communities, I want to make sure we're taking the hard edge off of some of these very high-speed suburban areas, so people are more welcome and feel better about walking with their families and getting outside on their bicycle and certainly walking if that's possible. Anything we can do to get people out of their cars, especially here in the suburbs, is an important thing. I'm running for the office because I am truly tired of seeing the District 6 office specifically being co-opted again and again by downtown special interests. This is what happened with Chris Cate for the last 7 years. Before that, Lori Zaff, and before that, my God, help us all, we had Carl DeMaio was our council member. Again and again, District 6 neighbors and residents do not have their concerns and needs being addressed actually at City Hall. The seat continues to be used as a vehicle for our downtown lobbyists and these downtown developers. And I can tell you that my neighbors are sick of this. I'm tired of this. They are starving for actual real leadership that's not connected with downtown special interests, excuse me, but is actually focused on getting results and speaking for our communities. It's Mira Mesa, but also currently Kearney Mesa, Sorrento Valley. Some of the other communities, we'll see where the boundaries will end up falling as the redistricting process continues. But we're actually pushing for leadership here in the heart of San Diego in District 6. My name is Tommy Howe. The slogan is Neighborhoods First for a reason. I'd like you to go and check out my website, tommyhowe.com, HOUGH. And I certainly hope that we can do a forum or some discussion on the District 6 race before this club might consider an endorsement at some point down the line. So I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Richmond, and have a great meeting.
All right, thank you. And I heard you, Tommy. Rather, I hear you. Please be sure to put your information in the chat. So Tim, are you ready to go now?
Certainly, thank you. Tommy's a favorite person of mine, so that goes too. I'm apologize if this is not as organized as it is. We're in Washington, DC this week. And last week, there were a number of things going on. I wanted to mention the CalCare conference continues. The nurses are pushing a program that may include a fee for service as part of the state Medicare universal health care, which I think is a good move. We'll see. It was a really great discussion. Council of Clubs was Saturday. I got to go there. I appreciated all the help that they have. In Washington this week, we have our first in-person events on Thursday at noon. I will be at the Capitol to try to push a filibuster reform. I think you can see how much pressure needs to be applied to get all the bills pending in the Congress, and trying to work on that part of it. Some information will be on the website. And then on Thursday, we're sponsoring a skate and greet at the Fort DuPont skating rink in Washington, DC. So a couple of events, trying to meet with some people and get more familiar with what's going on there and push it. So really appreciate being with the club again and the activities you guys do. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon.
All right, wow. So be sure to put your information in the chat. So now here's where we do our recognition of elected officials and representatives. Would anyone like to raise their hand? All right, so we will start with Doug Case. He was faster on the draw, Cody.
So, thank you. I'm Doug Case, and for those who don't know me, I'm the Political Affairs Director for Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins. The legislature is currently on recess, so this will be kind of a wrap up of the last session. At the last meeting, I reported that two of the senators' signature bills this session, SB 1 and SB 2, had passed the legislature, and I'm pleased to report that the governor signed both of them since we met last month. SB 1 is the sea level rise mitigation and adaptation bill, which requires the Coastal Commission to consider sea level rise in all of their planning activities, provides funding for local communities to deal with sea level rise, and creates a statewide consortium to also deal with the issue. The second one was a bill that she co-authored with Senator Bradford from Los Angeles. It was a bill that created a created a certification program for peace officers in the state of California. And California was one of the few states that didn't have such a program. And so now we do, at least at the beginning of, as of January 1, we will. And what that means is that officers who engage in a serious misconduct in one agency can be decertified by POST, which is the statewide police certification entity. And so they could be decertified, and therefore they could not be hired by another agency. And then finally, I want to give some budget wrap-ups of some things, the money that is coming to our district thanks to our San Diego delegation. There's $50 million coming to the city of San Diego for Pure Water Phase 1, $1 million for the San Diego City Attorney gun violence restraining order trainings, $35 million to the UC San Diego Scripps Institute of Oceanography for a new research vessel to study our ocean and changing climates, $3 million for the San Diego Symphony capital improvements at the Brady's Shell at Jacobs Park, $8.4 million for the OB Pier capital improvement project, and $30 million for the UC San Diego Hillcrest Medical Center for their replacement hospital. So there's a lot of money that is coming directly to our community, thanks to the efforts of our local delegation. So thank you.
Thank you. And so we're going to go now to Cody Pearson.
All right, thanks so much. I'm in the candidates section, but I'm rounding out the tail here, if that's all right. My name is Cody Pedersen. I am a longtime member of this club. and I'm running for San Diego Unified School District, Subdistrict C, which encompasses La Jolla, Mission Bay, Point Loma, and Kearney clusters. As I say, I'm a longtime member of the club, and I've organized and advocated with the club and its members on a lot of progressive issues and many progressive candidates. We just worked together to try to get Monica Montgomery selected as the council president, and we unfortunately failed, but we will be back. I am senior advisor for Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer for Land Use, Environment, Tribal Affairs, and that's really given me the opportunity to move transformative legislation from conceptualization to drafting to working with staff to implement. I'm also a lecturer at UCSD, where I did my PhD in anthropology. I'm also immediate past president of San Diego County Democrats for Environmental Action, and just had to resign for conflicts of interest because now I'm at the county from San Diego Sierra Club Executive Committee. I've done education, advocacy, development, implementation, organizing with Educate for the Future the last 5 years. And I'm a product of the district, and not only of the district, but of the sub-district. And my 5 and 8-year-old children are in the sub-district now. I'm running on a platform to reduce class size, implement community schools throughout the district, champion universal preschool, deepen the district's commitment to career and technical education, and to equity more broadly. Many of these issues are familiar to Lawana, your president. And I'll have a committee up and running in the next couple of days, and we'll be rolling out endorsements in the coming weeks. And I would like to formally request endorsement of the club. I love this club. I have organized with this club, and I think we share very broadly values and goals and priorities. So thank you so much for the time.
Okay, if I haven't already asked you to do so, please be sure to put your details in the chat so they can be captured by our secretary and included in the minutes.
Thank you so much. I'll do that.
Right, and so I see Kent Lee has his hand up. No, wait, Kent, before you go. Sabrina Bazo, you have your hand up. Sabrina, are you running for something?
I'm not. I was just
When the elected official?
elected official, yes.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Sorry, I've missed the last few meetings, so I'm glad I was able to finally join you this evening. And just met with Cody earlier this week, and happy to have him running for school board. So yeah, looking forward to that. And just wanted to give just a brief update about the school board. As I think all of you know, we passed a vaccine mandate about now probably a month ago. Moving forward with that, and we're planning to have that in place in time for next semester for January or sooner. So yeah, we're working through the steps on that, and also just trying to help the schools move forward. There's, it's not business as usual. Schools are back in schedule in place, but dealing with testing issues and people not wanting to wear masks and all that. So there's kids are overwhelmed, the parents are overwhelmed, teachers are overwhelmed, but we're making it work, and we're moving in a positive direction. And also I wanted to mention that with the superintendent search that we have in place, we just finished our community input sessions just to get feedback on what people want to see in the district moving forward. Some of the things Cody just mentioned, community schools, things of that nature, is something we're going to be supporting going forward. And we have now put out the job posting for the superintendent, and are supposed to have that narrowed down so that the board can select from 3 individuals by December. So that's the timeline. We'll see if that actually happens, but that's what our focus is going to be in the next few weeks, months, I guess. And that's it for me.
That's a pretty tall order, Sabrina. And I do.
It is a tall order, let me tell you.
And so I do say, I really appreciate you being here and providing that report. And we would also appreciate you deciding to join and become a member of the Democratic Women's Club.
Oh, I was a member. Did I expire?
You did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have been a member, and it must have just recently
Well, come back.
expired.
We'll be happy to have you. We welcome you.
Happy to rejoin or up my membership.
Oh, wonderful. Let's see here. We've still got some hands up here. So we had Sabrina. So now we will go to Kent Lee.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see,
Hold
I'm
on.
calling from my vehicle at the moment. But again, just as an intro, my name is Kent Lee. I'm a Democrat running for San Diego City Council in District 6 in order to build a stronger, more compassionate, more inclusive San Diego. As you've heard from me before, I really believe I have the depth of community-based experience and community-based support that we need at City Hall, specifically to ensure that we have representation that is rooted in the very communities that we're looking to serve. As some of you have heard from me before, I'm the executive director of Pacific Arts Movement, which does present the San Diego Asian Film Festival. So as a quick plug, that is coming back up in just over a week from October 28th through November 6th. I also have served for over 9 years in the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group. And perhaps just as a way to exemplify the trust and support that I've been receiving from the community in this race, we are excited to have recently announced endorsements from 2 city council members, Monica Montgomery Stepp, as well as Sean Ilo Rivera. And both of them joined County Supervisor Nora Vargas in supporting me in this race. Again, we, ending June 30th, also were the candidate that raised the most funds in this campaign so far, but more proudly to have raised most of those funds from directly within the region itself. Again, I'm just going to leave my info in the chat. Hope to be able to continue connecting with folks. And thank you for having me tonight. Again, my name is Kent Lee, Democrat running for San Diego City Council in District 6.
Okay, thank you, Kent. Let's see here. It looks like we have one more hand up. Oh, what is this? No. Okay, I have no idea. So the last hand I have up, unless Jessica would like to make an announcement, would be Dave Myers. Dave, do you have anything you'd like to share with the club tonight?
A lot I'd like to share with the club. I just don't know if you have time tonight.
Well, it's been kind of a weird thing. Our program got really truncated, so we have a little bit more time than we normally do.
Oh, great. Well, unlike the other person that calls themselves a Democrat in this race, who refused to participate in a Democratic club questionnaire and refused to participate and show up to a Democratic club that's sanctioned by the Democratic Party to answer questions, I'm not. I think if anybody who is going to run to be the top law enforcement person in this county, they should at least show up and answer questions. Law enforcement reform is not going to be easy, and there are going to be tough questions. But I'm going to show up because I believe in it. We currently have an undersheriff who clings to outdated law enforcement practices and refuses to address concerns raised by the community. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's time for a change. Right now, we are seeing people taken into custody that are dying in record numbers in our jails. I've been before your club and talked about it. Your club was one of the first clubs to support an effort for a state audit of the county jail systems. I show up and advocate for the County Law Enforcement Review Board to update its roles and responsibilities to hold law enforcement accountable. The current undersheriff was nowhere to be found. Just the other day, another lawsuit filed against the sheriff's department where a female inmate literally gouged out her own eyes while staff watched. Right now, our community's pleas for an independent examination of racial disparities in policing are ignored. The current undersheriff's first 4 promotions to the highest command level in the sheriff's department were 4 white men. Overqualified women, overqualified BIPOC members of the community. We just finished Hispanic Heritage Month. The Sheriff's Department has 0 Hispanics in leadership roles. What I want to do is prioritize drug treatment over incarceration, treat addiction as an illness, meet standards for women's health and disease prevention in the jails, including banning the use of shackling pregnant female inmates to their bed while they're delivering babies. I'm running for sheriff because I believe law enforcement must re-engage in a meaningful way with members of the community. My name is Dave Myers. I'm a longtime member of this club. Last time I ran for sheriff, this club was very supportive, and I really appreciate your support this time going forward. Thank you.
We can't hear you, Luana.
You're on mute.
Oh, I forgot I muted myself. I'm sorry. So I just said all that. Oh, is Barbara Bree here? No. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I got a little distracted. So I don't know if you all noticed, but we started doing credentialing because I found the list. I was able to access it. And so I know we said we weren't going to vote on the bylaw change. My question is, do we have anyone from the endorsement committee who could speak to it? Because I noticed Yvonne's not either.
I'm on the committee that helped draft the amendment.
Yeah, so would you feel comfortable explaining the amendment to people and talking about why it's important? Because I know I didn't do it justice. And if we're gonna vote for it, I think it should, or did I? I don't know.
Yes, you did it justice. It's basically to clarify who votes and who doesn't vote. Because if you're a member and you haven't attended any meetings, you just paid your dues, then we assume that you're not a voting member, because you can't just pay your dues and come in and vote. You have to have attended at least 2 meetings. And that's a result of something that happened with several clubs a couple of years ago when one campaign committee, or I should just say the campaign manager, sent lists to clubs with a total membership, and they just paid a whole bunch of dues. And then all these people could come in and vote. But we wanted to make sure that they can't do that at the women's club. And so that's why these few words were changed. And it means you need to actually pay your dues and come to a couple of meetings. And then we welcome your vote. And we welcome you to attend every meeting.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions about the bylaw change or need anything? Looking for hands here. Okay, Ann.
I have a question. We have, I've seen other bylaws do similar things, but they also include some onus on the club to notify members at a certain time of the year to let them know that their dues are up for renewal or something like that. I'm saying I'm a guest. As far as I know, I've paid my dues. So I'll go back through my receipts and try to find out, and maybe it's past due or something, but if you're going to hold them to that, it's good to also include a reminder before.
Our treasurer does send out a reminder at least 30 days prior to your dues lapsing.
I've received nothing, but I it's not about me. I don't want it to get into just about me, but I think that that's also an important other part of this. So thank you.
So Ann, I will say that you are not the first person to express this concern. And one of the things that we've been discussing and exploring is, instead of having everyone be on a join when you are, and then your membership cycle is based on when you join, flipping over to an annual dues thing, we haven't pulled the trigger on that one, because it would make the notification much more vocal and public, because with everyone having their own renewal date, we don't necessarily announce it during meetings. But I know that Rosamond does send out notices that don't always get missed. I think sometimes they end up in spam, but she is sending out the notifications, and clearly that is not been effective, and it's resulted in some attrition. So we can address it, and I definitely appreciate your concern, and I see that as an opportunity or area where we could make some improvement, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Lori, I see your hand.
The clubs always have a certain notification in advance of endorsements. So anyone who is concerned about missing an announcement and not being able to participate, we do require that advance notice. And we really do want informed people participating, which is why we want you to be a member of the club for some time before you do participate in an endorsement as well. But just to reassure people that there are also bylaws that require a certain amount of time. Is it more than 1 month? Is the month prior? I don't have the bylaws in front of me, but.
So for us, it's 30 days prior.
30 days prior. So, and we generally announce that at the month before the meeting where an endorsement is going to take place. So
Yes.
we'll definitely announce and encourage people to be prepared and when we do the endorsement meeting. So
And just for the record,
I
Go
thought
ahead.
it was 45 days prior to voting for new members,
oh, for new members.
not renewing, but new.
Well, so for new members, that's very different from the notification for existing members that their membership is going to lapse or will be expiring.
Yes.
So the other thing is, for people who are concerned, we are not planning to do any endorsements before the holidays. So there's time to remedy all prior to making any changes. So let's see, I see Jessica, did you want to ask a question or say something?
Yeah, just really quickly. My question is more about how do you keep record that someone has come for two meetings for that year? I know it's 2 meetings for 12 months, but what kind of mechanisms is there for us to make sure that we're getting people noted that they've been here? And then second part is there something when you sign up as a new member and I'm a new member, how do I know that that's what the responsibility is on my end?
So the first question, we take attendance at all of our meetings. And so that record is how we know who was at meetings. And then in terms of new members, what is it in terms of responsibility? Are you asking, is it letting you know your responsibility to attend a meeting?
Yeah, I'm just saying more who, like some of these folks who may not have time to go to all our meetings, that they know that they have to go to our meetings in order to be able to vote. So it's more of like, what's our obligation as an organization to notify those folks as they're signing up to be members?
So we do make the bylaws accessible and available to members. And we do also, when it comes to voting, make sure that we notify people in advance of endorsement or vote what the expectations are so that they're not caught off guard. I see Nadia's hand. Oh, wait, Jessica, was your question answered? Did I
Yes,
answer?
thank you.
Okay, all right, cool. Nadia?
有没有西瓜？还没有西瓜。
I just want to speak in favor of it, and I'll tell you, in the South Bay, we had a huge problem with that, where we had clubs that were stacked specifically for certain votes, and one of the clubs just never recovered from it because the stacking doesn't just affect that meeting. Those are my kids, by the way. It affects all the meetings after because you're unable to make quorum. So to have a vote, you have to have a certain percentage of your voting members attend your meeting. And if you don't have those voting members available because your club was stacked and those 30 people no longer want to come back, that means you can't pass any changes, you can't pass any laws, you can't change your bylaws, anything. So stacking is extremely important to try to avoid for us in every club president. And I think the Democratic Women's Club, this is a good step. It also gives you back your voice because you're the people coming every single time to these meetings. You're the ones coming and putting in the effort and doing all that. And being able to keep that as your decision on who you support is extremely important and allows you to keep and maintain that democratic voice at Central Committee.
Thank you, Nadia. So next we'll go to Elise Pipkin Allen. Elise, you have to unmute. It's nice to see your beautiful face in the place.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I've been a member since 2014, and my membership lapsed recently, and so I rejoined today. So how does that impact me as far as voting? Is there a waiting period for me, or can I just begin to vote as soon as there's something to vote upon?
Who can answer that? Let me look at the bylaws. We're at a disadvantage because our membership chair is not here. Have you been to at least 2 meetings in the last 12 months? I believe you have.
Yes, I have.
And
plus, I was an active member since 2014.
yeah, so I don't see a reason that you shouldn't be able to vote, but if I'm misinterpreting that, I would like someone to clarify it for me because I am not an expert in bylaws.
Okay. So they can just email me if they want to. If there's no one to do it now, you can
Okay.
just ask Rosamond or someone to give me a call.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for you to not be able to vote on this.
Okay.
I have one
Thank you.
question. How long did you lapse? Just a day, just a month or two?
Yeah.
I think it may have been a year.
No, it wasn't a whole year.
Oh,
No.
okay.
If it was less than a year, I'm quite sure that when you have repaid your dues that you're eligible.
Okay, I did all of that today.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so next we have is the only other. So first, let's see, Tim, go ahead.
First, a clarification. Is this a discussion of a motion that will be made at a future meeting
So
to
we
amend the
had tabled,
bylaws?
so we had tabled the vote because we didn't have the roster. I found the roster and we were able to credential everyone. So if no one has any objections, then we can vote on it today. If anyone has any objections, then we won't vote on it today. And I'm
Well,
fine.
I don't object to the motion. I think it's a great idea to tighten things up, but I might want to extend it into the Council of Clubs discussions about some of the changes the Progressive Club has made and eligibilities. and stuff.
So what are you asking, Tim? Are you asking for us to defer our vote?
No, no, I'm just asking, is this an appropriate place to talk about those things or to push it off to, just leave the motion as it is and bring that
So
up
if we're-
perhaps at a future meeting?
So if we're gonna vote on it today, whatever discussion we need to have before we vote, we need to have it before we vote. So
Okay.
so at this point, there hasn't been a motion. We're at the point where I'm just asking if there are any questions.
Okay, so it would be new business, so I will leave it.
It was on the agenda as an item for us to cover today.
No, I'm saying what I mentioned would be new business, so I'll leave it. I do support the amendment.
Okay, so are there any other questions about the amendment?
Can we make a motion to replace it on the agenda?
We can. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, so the motion has been, so it's been moved and seconded. Can we call the question? Is there any objection to calling the question? Hearing none, all in favor of adding the vote back to the agenda, please say aye.
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 All right. All right, any opposed, please raise your objection. Please say nay. All right, hearing none, it's been added back the agenda, that agenda item has been reinstated. With that being the case, Lori, I saw your hand was up and then it went down. Did you have anything you wanted to add or ask?
I was raising my hand to vote aye.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so now it's back on the agenda. Before we vote on the bylaw change, are there any questions or is there any need for any discussion? We've had plenty, but I'm open to more if this will make, I want people to walk away happy today.
I guess I can say that we dealt with this at about 2 meetings, actually maybe even 3 meetings before we came up with the final wording.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else that they would like to say? Okay, well, I'd be willing to entertain a motion to approve the bylaw change.
I make motion to approve the bylaw change.
Is there a second? The second from Ruth Rollins?
Yes, second.
All right, so we've been moved and seconded. All in favor of the bylaws change, please say aye.
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 Any objections, please say nay. All right, it sounds like we're all on the same page on this one. That is such a beautiful and lovely thing. It's always wonderful when people can come together and agree. It looks like the bylaw change has been approved, and hopefully this will help us to have more clarity well in advance of us approaching endorsement season. I think we should all give ourselves a hand because that was a lot less sticky and challenging than it could have been. I appreciate you all. All right, so with that being the case, and seeing how we had none of our speakers today, so our agenda is very truncated. The only thing we have left is officer reports. Which officer would like to go first? I think Sarah has a whole bunch of reports. She might want to get them out of the way.
I would be happy to.
Can we see?
Yes, you can.
Aw.
No children running around without clothes on, so.
Okay, wonderful. Yay!
Good evening, everybody. So I am internal vice president, and I have nothing to report on my own behalf, actually. But let me pull up Rosamond's, which I do have. I did have right in front of me because I did know this was coming. Go ahead to the next person, Alana, and I will stay on camera and you can come back to me.
Okay, so we're going to come back to Sarah. Who would like to go next?
Shall I go? Are the other officers?
It'd be great to hear from you, Lori. Can we see your face for a few minutes?
Yes.
Yay!
And are the other officers here? I know we have people.
We have a few. We have a couple out, but we've got
Navia's here. Yes. Okay. So let's see. The endorsement season is coming around, and I think it's important that this club know there is a woman running for county assessor, Barbara Bree, and she ran for mayor last year. And while she didn't win that election, she did very well. And I and others have encouraged her to stay engaged in local politics. So, and I want to just put that out to other women in the club. If you know of a woman who's well qualified, who would like to provide the service of running for office, please encourage them or at least talk to them about it. Because one of the things we always discussed in the Legislative Women's Caucus in Sacramento was, it's really hard to get strong, intelligent, qualified women with leadership qualities to run for political office for a variety of reasons. So if you know of someone, please encourage them. I understand the hesitancy, and so sometimes it just takes a little nudge and reassurance and getting them involved. So, and with that in mind, I want to nudge and encourage someone to consider taking on my position as Vice President of External Affairs. This position, it was a one-year term. The other officer positions for the club are not up for reelection, but mine was a one-year term, so we could get into alternating cycles. So I would like to encourage some of the members to consider if you would like to take this on. I've been offered some other opportunities, so I'm going to have to end this in December. It's coming right up. Let's see, what else? Oh, health issues. There have been many elected officials attending meetings, and I don't know how many of you are members of other clubs and attend other meetings, but I'm also on the Central Committee, so I've gone to several meetings via Zoom or in person when available, and I've been hearing Tony Atkins and Tara Lasso-Remer and others speak about something that's really hitting home. And you may have heard about a recent health outbreak in people who are unsheltered in downtown San Diego. Maybe you also have heard about people who are unsheltered having very high rates of COVID hospitalizations. They are many times higher. People who are living in congregate shelters are much higher chance of going to the hospital and much higher risk of dying for those infections. So one of the things I want to encourage people to consider and looking ahead, Tony Atkins, Tara Lasso-Remer at the state and the county level are starting to openly discuss, and a tweet recently came out from another assembly member, the importance of encouraging San Diego to have public restrooms. And those of you who have kids, those of you who know somebody who may have a health condition, who's older, disabled, there's no group of people that don't at some point need access to a public restroom when they're out and about in our city. And San Diego is really fallen by the wayside on that. So it may seem like a strange question to bring up or a discussion to bring up during a political club meeting, but it is absolutely a political issue. And the City Council of San Diego actually held a committee meeting 6 months ago where they were going to discuss allowing a developer downtown San Diego who had initially agreed to reinstall a bathroom that was removed during the construction project. They were going to let them off the hook to replace that public restroom. And when enough of us made a commotion, we got that item pulled off of the agenda. So it can be political, things like public health and sanitation. Now, 6 months later, we have a health outbreak downtown San Diego. And that agenda item has disappeared and nobody seems to know what's happened to it. So yes, public health, I mean, well, with COVID, with everything else going on, public health is absolutely becoming more of a political issue. And as somebody who is been involved with that when I was in the legislature for many years, I really want to encourage members of this club to think about what you might be able to do to encourage our elected officials, county supervisors, city council members, to make sure we're protecting public health for everyone, visitors, people who don't have homes, as well as parents out in parks with kids. It's something San Diego is really deficient in. So looking ahead on health issues, maybe that's something we can take up as a broader discussion for this club. So that's my report for this month.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I see that Anne has her hand up. Did you have a question about Lori's report? Anne, was your, okay. Elise, did you have a question?
Not really a question, I have a comment. When you start talking about public health and the health of homeless people, we should also, in our meetings in that first half hour, ask each other how we're feeling, to see if any of the members are having any particular health issues that they want to talk about.
That's a good idea. Okay, thank you. Anne, I see your hand is back up again. Did you?
Sorry, yes. So I was able to find my dues. They lapsed in September, so I paid and I'm up to date. I would love to give the North County Postal report, if that's acceptable, to let people know that both the Democratic Club of Carlsbad and Oceanside and the caucus for the North County Postal have endorsed Eric Joyce for Oceanside City Council. So that's fantastic. I see Cody saying yay, yes, yay. And so I, with your permission, will add his information to the chat. It is difficult when you're going, it's a very large area, so I encourage everyone to send them their $25 to help them out. If you have expendable income, and you can do that or more, obviously. With your permission, Dr. Richmond, I'd also like to give information regarding the Children's Caucus, if there's time for that, or if there's a better time or not.
So absolutely want to hear about the Children's Caucus. I would say would be after the officer reports.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Nadia, Sarah or Nadia, who wants to go first?
I can go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Sarah.
So on behalf of Rosamond, our treasurer and our membership director, currently we have $2,548.45 in our bank account. Expenditures over the last month were the following: $500 to CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations, for legal aid for Afghan refugees. We paid the FPPC, which is the California Fair Political Practices Commission, a penalty that it totaled $460 and a $13.80 service fee. We currently have 146 members within this count. This includes 6 members whose membership will expire this month. All have been notified of their upcoming expiration by email. That is the report.
Thank you very much. Nadia, do you have anything to report?
I just want to remind everyone, in an effort for us to stay informed, if you have anything that you would like to go out to the membership, please feel free to email it to me and I will put it in our newsletter and send it out to everyone. Also, for the candidates, if you have an event coming up where you'd like to get all the membership to know, to come out and meet you or greet you or walk with you, just go ahead and send it to us and we'll send it out to all the memberships. As you can see, I'm still working on the website. The great thing about technology is that it advances at a rate faster than we do, which means that the website where the Democratic Women's Club is currently located is already out of the range of what the newer programs like Wix and some of the other things are. So I'm kind of having a hard time trying to manifest it into something that's visible. But as soon as it's done, I'm going to be excited about presenting it all to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As for me and my report, I think I'll keep it really simple. We participated in the Women's March, and we were able to be on the stage and really happy with the turnout and the caliber of all of the speakers that were there. And the sistership was awesome. And I want to encourage us to stay aware and also stay actively engaged in the fight for reproductive justice, not just rights, but justice. And, to that end, we had hoped to have some speakers tonight to really go into detail about some of the opportunities and ways that we can engage to be actively involved in this fight, which should have been over decades ago, but continues and will continue because for some reason, people who don't have uteruses feel like they need to legislate what does and doesn't happen with them. In the meantime, we are, I'm really glad we had someone show up tonight from school board and give us an update on what's happening there. I'm looking forward to Ann Crosby's report from the children's list, and I hope that we will all be mindful there. I'm really grateful to all of the women on our board. We also participated in Oktoberfest in La Mesa with the La Mesa Foothills Democratic Club and had an opportunity to do outreach with people in that community. It was as usual, a very well attended event. Learned a lot about all types of people. And it was an interesting experience. I encourage people, it's always good to not just hear from people who agree with you. I think that we have a tendency to favor echo chambers where we hang out with people with whom we politically align and think that is sufficient And the reality is, as long as everybody hangs out in their own private echo chamber, we will not have progress. We will not have change. What we will have is continued ongoing battles and fights. My hope is for all of us to move forward. Yesterday I found out that this was Mental Wellness Month. As someone who is currently more on my own mental wellness because of some challenges and struggles that I'm facing, I encourage everyone to think about how we can socialize and normalize mental wellness and self-care, because quite often as women, we're called upon to be everything, do everything, and take care of everything for everybody else, and to put ourselves last. And the results of that are not very healthy. And so I encourage all of those things for all of you. And I have to say that part of normalizing that is me being open with all of you with my own challenges. And I welcome any encouraging words from time to time. And I understand, as someone who fights this battle, that you never know what anybody's dealing with, and that we should all be kind to one another. So that's the end of the officer reports. And now, is there any new business we need to bring? Before we move on to announcement, any new business? Tim, do you have your hand raised for new business, or are you jumping the gun on announcements?
Well, it's about the fair. I just wanted to extend your remarks on the Democratic Women's Club helped man the La Mesa booth for 3 days there. I happened to be there all 3 days. I think your efforts to do that, the people you supplied, made a big boost for the Democratic Party and for them. So there was a lot of effort on individual members, I believe, that did that. I just wanted to thank them publicly for that. And also, and then that's it. So I do have an announcement. Thank you.
Okay. So now we are moving to announcements. Everyone with an announcement, please raise your hand. All right. So, okay, I see 2 hands, 3 hands. Oh, all right. This is exciting. All right. So we'll start with Ann, because I really want to hear about the Children's Caucus. Yes, I'm biased.
Thank you very much. So we have a meeting coming up on October 28th, which will be a special meeting of the Children's Caucus. And at that meeting, we're going to be talking about police officers on school campuses and also mental health issues. We're going to have the ACLU will be one of the presenters at that meeting. I think it'll be really informative. It's some of the things we've been working on with the Children's Caucus. So I will put my information in the chat for anyone who would like to attend. Please just reach out and I'll make sure that you get the link. Secondarily, I, as the chair of the Children's Caucus individually, have signed on to a petition for a special meeting of the California Democratic Party. And I invite everyone to attend. If you're an e-board member, you would have received an invitation, but anyone can come as an observer who's a Democrat. And at that meeting, we'll be discussing whether or not the Democratic Party should be accepting fossil fuel money or police organization money. So it should be an interesting conversation, and I hope that you'll attend and observe. I'm really hopeful for some positive change to come out of the meeting. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Those are some great questions to ask. Tim, is your hand still, your hand's up because you have an announcement. Nadia, you have your hand up. What is your announcement?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come here and advise you that if you are part of the South Bay, these South Bay regional clubs are holding a Battle of the Bay, which means we are doing softball in order to kind of get together with each other and kind of hash out all our differences and group together and really have that team effort. It's going to be Imperial Beach versus Coronado versus East Lake Bonita Dems and the Chula Vista Democrats. And just between you and me, Coronado said they were going to kick our butts. So I am actively seeking out anybody that wants to play for East Lake Bonita Dems. You can contact me, same email in there. Thank you.
Awesome. Ruth Rollins, I see your hand is up.
Well, I wondered if you still wanted me to make that report on my new medal.
Yes, please.
Okay. This happened on October 7th. I'm a member of MOA, which is the Military Association of Military Officers Association of America. And since my late husband was a member of that, I have continued working with them. And it turns out something that I'd never heard of before. But so they presented me with a plaque. And I can't read it that way, but at least you know I got a plaque. And then they gave me a medal. And the medal on the back says what it's for. Military spouse, the most important job in the United States Armed Forces. Anyway, I was overwhelmed. And at that same meeting, Jessica Hayes, who you probably most all of you know as former chair, was there speaking in regard to the state senate that she works for. And one of the people that was there was a retired Filipino doctor. They recruited her out of Michigan Medical School, and she served with the Navy as an MD until she retired a few years ago. And she was discussing all the time she had been discriminated against because nobody would believe that she was a doctor, a captain. I mean, after all, she was a woman. She was a Filipino. Well, she is a fantastic person. And I guess because they don't give these to husbands, I guess, just to former wives. And I was just overwhelmed. And they said there was some, I think he was a Marine, not captain, colonel. They said, he put you up for this, Ruth. And I just was overwhelmed because it's been quite a while. I didn't have any, both of my husbands served, one in Korea and the other in World War II. And I wasn't married to either one of them, but I still get the spouse award. I guess it's because I do so much for them. But anyway, I wanted to share because, and the other part of that is that this idea started in 1984 with Ronald Reagan as president. And then finally in 1999, Congress acted on it. And but only the Military Officers Association of America is responsible for this. It's not a military medal as such, but I was overwhelmed and I just wanted to share it with you all. And if you know active duty militaries, tell them thank you from me.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Ruth. I think that's a beautiful story. My announcement is, I went into the announcement field because this is about my service as co-chair for the Candidate Evaluations Committee. And I'm not sure if you're all aware, but we were charged with coming up with some ways to, how can I put it, to kind of upgrade the way the Central Committee handles candidate endorsements, and particularly the evaluation of incumbents. And I just wanted to announce that some of the processes that we've come up with will be implemented or tested out at the Metro West meeting that's coming up, I guess, later this week or next week. And we look forward to feedback in terms of how to continue to improve the process so that it's fair and transparent. And I thank you all for your time and attention. Tim, you have an announcement that you would like to make.
A quick announcement to piggyback on, I don't quite understand the opposition that some of the House members have to the negotiating for Medicare prices, which appears to be holding up the Build Back Better bill. Scott Peters was had a town hall on Tuesday. He was at Rancho Santa Fe on Thursday. I don't really understand that position, and some of the other House members like Manchin and the others that were announced today. I put in the chat a link. The Southern chapter of Indivisible Change Begins With Me is protesting in front of Scott Peters' office twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that event announcement I put in the chat for anybody that might be interested. It's a difficult issue for me as a physician. It seems straightforward, but there seems to be a whole bunch of House members who are not on the side of getting these drugs for the people that need them. If somebody knows any more about that, please contact me, and the more information I can get, then the better I'll understand it. Maybe we could push on it. So thank you.
So not to craft dispersions, Tim, but I believe there may be a correlation between the amount of pharmaceutical dollars being contributed to campaigns and the resistance to negotiating with pharmaceutical companies for lower prices.
I got it in the mail today, his reply. And he says he has introduced a bill that will do some very positive things for the amount of drug costs. I haven't read what is actually in the bill, but well, the one thing it says establishes a $50 per month out-of-pocket maximum for insulin. And I've heard of people paying thousands of dollars a month for insulin. So
yeah.
So he is trying. He has a bill, and anyway.
Nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have any other announcements this evening? All right, I see all the excitement and everyone is so pensive. Yeah, rah, rah. So with that being said, the meeting of the central office. Rose Pope, your question is a good question. I would say the San Diego County Central Committee. If you go to the SD-DEMS calendar, all of the public meetings are on the calendar along with information about how to access. And when we were meeting in person, the meetings were public. The meetings are now on Zoom. They're still public. They're just rules about who can speak when, depending upon what your role is on the Central Committee. But there is a time at the very beginning for public announcements. Anything else? All right, no problem. Is there anything else before we wrap up? Oh, Andy, not to call you out, it's nice to see you. All right. Oh, Lori. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't want to include this in my official report, but Dave Myers was here earlier. He is running and is getting endorsements from various Democrats and clubs to run for sheriff. And I just want people to know that the people there's two others running against him. He mentioned one earlier when he spoke, but there's a third person who is a city attorney, an assistant city attorney. And this is someone you may not hear a lot from immediately, in part because he is wrapped up in the 101 Ash Street investigation. So just as someone who, again, being out there in the community listening to different reports that may be in the background, but will come to the foreground eventually, I want to give our club members kind of an inside scoop on some of what's happening with some of these campaigns and elections. And so be aware that the city attorney, assistant city attorney who is running for sheriff, he's a former police officer. I think he has some military police experience, but the rumors are that he really is doing it as much for name recognition so he can run for city attorney when Mara Elliott terms out. And I think we really need to be clear when, as Democrats, who we want to be an experienced and strong representative, and someone like Dave, who has decades of experience here in San Diego as a sheriff at increasing levels of responsibility and leadership, is someone that I think is a very solid choice for this position. So please do your own research, but I just wanted to let folks know we may have some stealth candidates running in addition to Dave in this race. And I call them stealth candidates because, as Dave was saying, a lot of them just don't even show up and talk to Democrats at meetings.
And a lot of them aren't really Democrats.
Or very newly converted Democrats.
Yes, who helped raise money for Mr. Trump.
All right. So on that wonderfully positive and upbeat note, not seeing any other announcements. Lori, did you have anything else you want to say? I didn't mean to cut you off if you still had stuff to add. Nope. Yep.
No, hold on. Let me drop my hand. There we go.
Okay, Michelle, welcome to the party. I'm sure you have your hand up because you have something to say. Fire away.
Did I hear you just say announcements, regular announcements?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Apparently.
Yeah.
I just want to remind people about the 2 California Democratic Party e-board meetings that are coming up. One this coming Saturday at 10 a.m., which is a special meeting specifically about money that the party, the CDP specifically, is accepting or not accepting related to fossil fuels and law enforcement. It's free. You can go ahead and register on the cadem.org website. The regularly scheduled e-board meeting is November 15th through the 21st. Again, I'm encouraging people to take advantage of this virtual situation. No hotel bills, no transportation, no time away from home and family. All of the 19 caucuses, of course, are free. And the standing committees, there's 8 of them. Check out how your party is running and have your voice heard. There's also trainings, the last of the JEDI trainings, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion will be happening tomorrow night, the 19th, from 5:30 until 7:30 or 7 o'clock. I think it's 5:30 to 7. Again, you can go to cadem.org website and it's free. And lastly, the CARA, California Alliance of Retired Americans, is holding a virtual free convention or conference October 26th and 27th. Dr. Shirley Weber is one of their keynote speakers. The other one is Alex Padilla. Again, if you go to alliancecalifornia.org, you will be able to register there. Again, it's free and virtual. So take advantage of these situations. And that's it. There's film festivals, but I'm sure you guys have heard ad nauseum. Thanks.
I haven't heard about any film festivals, so if you want to tell us, we'd be happy to hear about it.
Okay, I felt like I was taking way too much time.
Well, because you're the last speaker and it's only 7:40, so go for it.
Okay, so the San Diego Asian Film Festival is happening right now. I don't know whether Kent made it or not. He's running that. That ends on November 6th, San Diego Asian Film Festival. And the Filipino Festival is happening right now for like a week. I don't have the dates exactly memorized. And the third one is the International Film Festival. That's the only one that I'm aware of that's actually hybrid, that there are some films that I believe you can watch virtually, and that the others you have to physically go. The other two film festivals are physical to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, so those are the ones that I am aware of right now.
All right. All right, so I think we have had much conversation. I appreciate the time we spent getting to know each other at the very beginning of the meeting, and I look forward to us engaging further. And I hope that, one day we will see each other again, because I want to see your smiling faces.
Luana, it's Barbara Bree. Sorry, let me put my video on.
Oh, Barbara.
Yeah, I've been eating
Welcome
dinner.
to the party.
Well, thank you. I've been here for a little while. I've been eating
I
dinner. Just didn't want you to watch me eating my dinner. And I wanted to first thank Lori Saldana for actually calling me at the end of August to encourage me to run for county assessor. And then other Democrats stepped forward to also encourage me. I have opened a committee. I'm raising money to do a poll and some research. I plan to become a formal candidate in November if all goes well, and then I will come to the club to formally seek your endorsement. My opponent will be a Trump Republican who is has a senior position in the assessor's office right now. The incumbent Ernie Jodenberg is not running.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know formally. We appreciate it.
You're the first Democratic club I've said anything to. So.
Well, we're special. So
you are.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, Barbara. This is Sarah Davis. I'm really thrilled to hear that you're running. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about County Assessor Recorder Clerk? Because it's not the most famous job out there.
No, it is not, and I will be more prepared in November. But basically, if you need a marriage certificate, a death certificate, a birth certificate, the assessor handles all of that. But the most significant thing they do is they assess the value of real estate and other properties. That determines the amount of property taxes that you pay. And on some transactions, it's very simple. If you sell a house for $100,000, it's very clear what the tax basis is. But if you build a new biotech complex, or you make significant improvements to a house or an office building or a shopping center, then it becomes much more complicated what the basis is for real estate taxes. And there have been some studies done that our current assessor leaves money on the table, money that belongs to all of us. And my priority as assessor will be to foster accountability, transparency, and equity, and to bring technology to this office to better serve its constituents. But I will be much more prepared in November.
Well, thank you. Well, now we really are ending on a positive note.
Yeah.
I think, yes, this is exciting, and we're going to get there. Elise, did you want to say something, or are you just making you moving around? You lit up a little bit.
Is my hand up?
Nope.
Oh.
When there's sound coming from your area and you're not muted, your square lights up, kind of like on Hollywood Squares.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that everybody who wants to be heard is heard, because we've done an outstanding job of managing our time today. And so, absent any reason for us to continue meeting, I will adjourn, because that's the next thing on the agenda. Thank you all so very, very much. I look forward to seeing you every time that I get a chance to be in your company or presence, and especially at our next meeting on the third Monday of November.
Thank you, Luana.
Thank you
do a
very much,
great
Luana.
job. Great president.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Good night.
Great meeting. Good night, everyone.
All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Where's our music?
You know, I'm on a different computer, so let's see here. I could play some music. It'll be well, you know what? I didn't stream to Facebook today. Oh, I'm terrible. So everybody who wasn't here missed out on this fabulous meeting.
You're not terrible, you're just not perfect.
Yeah. And I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I've enjoyed that before, so.
All right, no worries. Yeah, I got to find some music that's appropriate for the audience because I listen to a lot of inappropriate music.
And if Cody is still here, I'll be back on November 2nd.
Oh, your dog. What's his name? Zell. Why is that?
All right, so music. So Cody is still here unless he walked away and just left the meeting going. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well,
Michelle is still here.
We'd been talking and since I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks, we can't meet until I get back. So I just told him that. Hopefully he heard it. Otherwise.
Here's a song you guys might like.
Oh. Now you're perfect.
That's a little better.
And Kathy, I'll send you the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I got most of it. I missed the name of the ball game that Nadia was talking about. The softball game, or
I'll send her a note. I don't know if she put it in the chat.
I can send her a note on Slack.
I can tell you what it is.
And
Michelle knows everything.
No, I don't know how this election system is going to turn out. It's the 4 geographic clubs: Chula Vista, Coronado, East Lake Bonita, Chula Vista.
No wonder I didn't get it.
Yeah, it
was a lot.
It's Chula Vista. Well, her club is the East Lake Bonita Club. I'm sure she said that one first. Then there's the Chula Vista one, the Imperial Beach Club, and the Coronado Club are all going to have a competitive softball game. But Nadia,
I'm going to say South Bay Club.
South Bay Geographic Clubs, yes. South Bay Democratic Geographic Clubs. It's only the geographic ones. They have not invited the affinity clubs.
Okay, so it's a South Bay Demographic Geographic Clubs softball game?
Yep, softball game, competitive. But she also tells you that all of her that the average age of her club members is 70. So she's really trying to recruit other people to play, and they don't have to be a member of the club to play.
Maybe I'll go play.
You would love that, honestly.
I suck.
Hey, I mean, you're in company with 70-year-olds. How can that be bad?
For some 70-year-olds, that would be great.
Yes,
I
exactly.
understand. I understand, but that's what I'm trying to say, is she's trying to recruit extra.
Okay. Well, I am going to finally say good night and have a wonderful day tomorrow.
Well,
Bye.
enjoy your trip, Ruth, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
And congratulations on your award.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you. It was just overwhelmed. I really could not. Well, anyway, and I
Oh,
don't even know the guy that put me up for it. They pointed him out to me. I gave him a hug cheek to cheek, but I don't know I couldn't tell you his name anyhow. But he goes
What
to a
kind
lot of
award
meetings.
What kind of award did you get?
Oh, I got the Military Spouse Medal from the Military Officers Association of America. And this,
Oh,
it
cool.
goes back to, would you believe, President Ronald Reagan? And then Congress, that was in 84, and then Congress in 1999. Anyhow, but it is,
Congratulations.
thank you.
All right, well, thank you all. Thank you, everybody. This has been lovely. I will see you all soon.
Luana, one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
For your best practices being developed, a little bit more detail?
Oh, okay. So basically, so it includes like an incumbent scorecard. We submitted, our committee developed a report that we submitted to Will, and he vetted it with the executive board. And they identified specific practices within our report that they wanted us to move forward with. And one
So
of
new
them
practices
was
being developed for candidate
evaluations.
evaluation, that's it.
They used to only evaluate new candidates, but this is for the incumbents. And some of those
Perfect.
questions are pretty nitpicky.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that, an incumbent who basically got elected and then supported initiatives that were contrary to the party on a regular basis and didn't accomplish any of their promises, particularly when they had a Democratic majority to support them, is suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Peters.
Right.
Well,
Right.
if you also go back 4 years, Tony Atkins and some other people endorsed the incumbent sheriff.
Yeah. Well,
So there are a lot of things. And, as she just said at that point, it's just politics. I have to keep a good relationship with the sheriff.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, and not to toot my own horn, but a lot of this committee came out of a letter that I wrote to the executive board of the Central Committee last year, expressing concerns about the process.
Yeah.
As someone who was a neophyte, I was able to see the process as a process, as opposed to, well, it's how we always do it and just accept it. And so I pointed out some opportunities for improvement because I'm a process engineer. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. It's how I pay my bills. So that's how I look at the world. All right. So are we good?
Anyway, I got elected to it from Metro West.
Yeah, it's been a joy working with you.
Unanimously.
Yeah, yeah. They knew you were the right person.
Anyway. And
all right, folks.
Okay. Have a
All right,
wonderful
good night, everybody.
have a wonderful week, I should say. Goodbye.
Yeah, and safe travels. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Nice save, Luana. I swear.
I had to pull a rabbit out of my hat.
You are the coolest customer, man. I gotta.
Well, I took drama in college.
Nothing but respect, lady.
All right.
I'll see you later. You take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.